Hey guys, this is Callum from EnglishShooting and welcome back to the channel and of course the Bluefield Sports Gun Room. Now I'm sure some of you have already seen the full review of the Trijicon MRO HD on the channel. If you haven't, go and watch it because I'm going to be pulling things from that video today. But the summation of it was that whilst in the end I got on very well with the MRO platform, personally I didn't see any benefit to the HD model, and certainly when it's going to cost you about £150, £200 more, I just don't think you can really justify it, and my advice would be to go for an MRO, and that's what I'm still looking at doing for myself. But of course, looking at the price of even the standard MRO, you're talking £400 to £500, and I'm sure there's many of you out there like myself that has been tempted to find a cheaper alternative, and usually this involves looking at China. Now let's be clear that these optics, they're not inspired by the real thing, they're not loosely based on the real thing, they are trying to be complete copies. They are trying to be in every single way a direct copy of the real thing for a fraction of the price. So the question is, are they worth it? Well, as it would happen, I have a fake Trijicon MRO that Connors and I have aptly named the Trijicon. Now, this was bought, I think, a number of weeks ago through Alibaba. It was Connors that bought it after sort of having a play with the MRO HD. He was interested in sort of trying one out, a standard MRO. And again, just trying one out for the £400–500, that's a hell of a commitment. So he thought, well, let's have a look at Alibaba. They are £30–40 around that price. So we're talking a tenth of the price of the real deal, which is of course the main appeal. Now, looking at the optic at first glance, it's fairly convincing. The first thing that stood out to me is that your windage and elevation turrets, they are shiny, whereas on the real deal they have this sort of matte black that keeps the flow of the overall matte black outer casing. The mount that it came on isn't the worst thing in the world, but it's certainly a lot different to what comes on the standard model. But apart from that, it's got all the same controls, it's got the same form function, and of course it has Trijicon MRO on the side. So if you're trying to show off to your mates and trying to act like you've just dropped £400–500 on an optic, then this will probably pass from a distance. However, looking through it, it's immensely blue, and you can probably see from there the blue tinge. I don't think they could have made it any more blue if they had tried. And before even looking at it through it myself, just Connor's picking up and holding it up to the light, I saw this blue glow on his face. So that's a warning number one. It certainly isn't clear, it's not exactly well, what you would expect. Of course, some of these optics do have some tinge to them, but this thing's just absolutely ridiculous. Now, the dot itself, which is the main reason you're going to want to go for an MRO, I was very impressed with the 2 MOA dot that comes on the HD, and of course you get the same on the standard MRO. Well, the dot on this, whilst you do have brightness adjustment, it's absolutely horrid. It's not pinpoint, it's not sort of the dot you would expect. It's sort of all splinted off, it's very hazy and not precise at all, and it just gets worse as you turn it up. Actually, on the lower levels, it looks more like a line. So is it worth buying a fake? I think I've already answered that question to you guys. Now, I'm a big believer of you get what you pay for, and I'm sure there are a few cases where this would be more than suitable. I think Alex here is going to be using it on the BB guns for his kids, so it will find a use. There is a purpose for it, but in terms of top level competition, these optics cost what they cost for a reason. Even Vortex, which is one of the most sort of value conscious brands, it's one of the best sort of value for money that you can get in terms of optics. For a decent red dot, look at their UH1, you're talking around the same price. There's still a few £100. So There's a lot of tech that goes into it. There's a lot of quality control, and for the Chinese variants, they are just all they're worried about is pumping out high volumes very, very quickly, something that looks as close to the real thing as possible. But in this instance, it performs entirely differently. The performance levels are just chalk and cheese. So don't be tempted. I can tell you now, save the 40 quid that you're gonna go and waste. If you think this is gonna be anything near the real deal, you are unfortunately going to be sadly mistaken. So there we go, guys. Just a bit of consumer advice for you guys. We did it as a bit of an experiment, just on the off chance we could be pleasantly surprised, but it sort of lived up to expectations, let's just say. So there we go. Thank you very much for watching this video. I hope you've enjoyed it, and as always, guys, I hope to see you soon.